A new edition of the Women's World. My name is Amal Mukhtar. A short break and I'm going to be back with you. Actually, we are going to discuss today in our episode the women empowerment. Women in Egypt became judges, ministers, and is high-ranking positions in the country. Well, to shed more light on the women empowerment in Egypt, we have the pleasure to have this phone with Dr. Hoda Badran, the chairperson of the Egyptian Feminist Union. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, Dr. Badran, recently, 1 year ago, the Egyptian women became a judge. So that was really a historical step and decision that was taken by the political leadership. What's your comment on this?
You know, there have been very positive steps towards women empowerment, particularly when we measure that by the number of women who have really attained positions, political and social positions, which they will not have before. And for example, if you use the measurement of how many women are in the cabinet, of course, this is a very positive step forward. Some other women have been attaining other positions in the financial sector and in the education sector. However, I would say that we need more on the local level, because if we can work on both levels, because the decisions for these distinguished women have been taken by the president, which means that we have a good political will at the level of the national level. But still, we have to say that there has to be more work with the common people, with the common women who still don't feel that they have all the rights. And for example, we need more work with NGOs who are locally active. We need to work with local women who are in the unofficial sector of economy. Because when we look at some of the indicators, we found that not much progress has been seen on the national index, which measure women empowerment internationally. So I have to say in a summary that there has been very positive steps forward, but still there is a need for a lot of work on the local level and on engagement of the middle class women, engagement of the poor women to know the rights.
Yes. Dr. Badran, don't you think that when women occupies high-ranking positions or any position in the labor market, this goes back to the good education that a woman receives? So the importance of education in boosting the life of any woman in order to bring up her children properly and in order to work in the field that she really could pioneer in.
Yes, I agree with you fully, because education is a very important factor that really affects, it doesn't affect only women, by the way. It affects the life of men also. It affects the national development of the country. Some good indicators show that the gap in enrollment between men and women have really narrowed lately. But I also have to say that the level and the quality of education in our schools, it needs a lot to be improved. And I'm hoping, I'm a bit optimistic, and I think with the change that's being going on now, particularly with the new Minister of Education, maybe that the quality of education, not just for women, but for women and men, for the whole, for children particularly primary education, and as you go on up to the level of university, I hope there will be a good change where not just number of women who would matter, but also the quality of education that they can get and how much they can use such education in finding work, and not just finding work, but performing their duties and their responsibility in a very high level.
Yes, so it is education that is the reason behind the occupation of women to positions and to be able to work in the labor market. Let's start with the history of the struggle of the Egyptian women for education, which is one of the main reasons that would help the women empowerment in Egypt. There were no schools at the start, and then the started small schools, and there was something that was called الثقافة النسوية, or the if we say the feminist culture, that the girls used to be educated in. So if you give us an idea about the history of this, please.
You know, I know there has been different kinds of schools and education.
Yes.
And at one time, there was a division between the kind of schools for girls and boys. There was, for example, as you said, some schools where they were called feminist schools, where girls would go at the level of secondary schools to learn about cooking and drawing and
Yes.
needlework in order to be a good wife. That was the real goal for this kind of education. And at the same time, boys were going to, kind of school like plumbing and other art and which will prepare them to go and have jobs in the labor market. The schools for girls were not preparing them to go to the labor market. They were preparing them to be good housewives. Accordingly, there is always a gap in terms of statistics in the labor statistics. The percentage of women who work in the formal sector are much lower than men. It's something like the most lowest percentages internationally. But I think this would be improving because there is now an emphasis about getting women to work in the formal sector and also to be having their own, projects, to be entrepreneurs. And this has been improving for a while.
Yes, yes. Also, after this, there were several schools. Also, the Coptic schools was a good one. Also the missions that provided like the English mission, the American mission, and others that provided a good quality of education to the girls.
Yes, that's true. And I personally am not against that would be different kinds of schools. But I would hope that any of these kinds of schools, with the quality of education would be good, whether for boys or for girls. And they would also be coordinated in the final analysis. What are we aiming to get out of any kind of education? We have to have some kind of a profile, because education is preparing students to be good adults and good citizens. What are our definition of a good citizen? I think there should be some coordination, that we have a vision of a good citizen. A good citizen should be able to work in a teamwork, should be knowing his human rights, but on the other hand should know his and or her responsibilities. She should keep a good high level of performance in any job that he or she would be performing. We should have a clear vision and have some kind of an agreement of what are our really goals. What do we mean by citizenship and belonging to the same identity of a good, very well kind of Egyptian identity
Yes.
for girls and boys.
Yes, as we are reviewing the history of the Egyptian women in the working field and the labor market, what were the first jobs that the women occupied? She started at first like a teacher, and what else did the women, Egyptian women, started long ago were in the field of working?
Yeah, at the beginning, not every job was open for women, as we know. They were allowed to be teachers, and they were allowed to be nurses also. Was early as Muhammad Ali Pasha, ruling Egypt. And actually, I have to say that Muhammad Ali was very progressive at that time, because also it was not just Egypt that was not opening the door for any job for women. Most of the other countries also were on the same level. But gradually, I think there is no job now that is not allowed for women. Yani, the last one, she was not getting to be taking as employee in some of the branches of the Ministry of Justice until about 2 years ago.
Yes.
And I think thanks to the president, who
Yes.
has
Yes.
just ordered that this should be opened to girls and boys in complete equality. Women now are in the position of being governors, ministers. I think all jobs now are open in front of women. So it is up to the Egyptian woman really to put effort to be up to the standards, to fill in these jobs.
Yes, Dr. Badran, now the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, since he came to office, he gave very good attention to and care for the Egyptian women, saying that believing that she is the one who leads the family. She brings up the children, she educates them, she is the center of everything. So the president have allocated a special year for the Egyptian women. What are the efforts that were exerted since President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi came to office concerning the Egyptian women under the directives of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi?
Well, thanks to Fattah al-Sisi, because I think he is gender sensitive, and this is an asset that we are having, because most of his decisions are really gender sensitive. But we cannot just depend on the president to do the work for us. There are institutions, and the president cannot go into the details. When he says that she is the backbone of the society, thanks to him very much. Because actually Egyptian women really are carrying a lot of responsibility. And I'm taking this opportunity to say that I hope also men are taking or sharing some of the home responsibilities with the women. Because it doesn't mean that the home responsibilities is only for women. No, men should be good parents, good fathers, should help their wives in housework beside their work, because also there are a lot of women who are working in the morning.
Yes.
But it's not fair that women can come back and carry the whole responsibility at home, and men are just waiting for food to be served, and there's somebody to be serving them. So we need a bit of change in the culture.
Yes.
So that there will be, a good balance and good partnership, and children, particularly our new generation, would see a good model at home,
Yes.
because they should see that their fathers are cooperative, they are very nice, they
Yeah,
are
that's true.
also helping them to study, not only the mother who are sitting with the students to help them in their homework, but fathers are also helping in this direction.
Yes.
I think
So-
there are some families who are going through that.
Yes.
And I have seen some fathers who are playing a very good role inside home.
Yes, I thank you very
And,
much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Dr. Huda Badran, chairperson of the Egyptian Feminist Union. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a report about a new one initiative that highlights the potential of the Egyptian women.
Social Solidarity launches the third version of a new one initiative under the auspices of the Minister of Social Solidarity, Niveen Qabbaj. A new one is an annual initiative to review inspiring stories in the lives of women and shed light on issues of equality and social and economic empowerment for them in line with the country's vision in the 2030 Sustainable Development Plan. The third edition of the initiative comes with the aim of highlighting the role of men in supporting Egyptian women in various fields. The initiative contributed to highlighting the enormous potential that Egyptian women possess, and since its first edition, the initiative has succeeded in being an effective way to inspire and support women to achieve more success. The new one initiative supports the principle of equal opportunities, and that it is necessary to empower women to help them achieve themselves and encourage them to participate economically and socially in the development of society. Therefore, the initiative always keen to provide all means of moral and financial support through the programs implemented by the initiative and by encouraging them to assume leadership positions. The strategy of the initiative is in line with President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi directives to support and empower women according to Egypt's Sustainable Development Strategy 2030. The third season of the initiative includes a variety of events launching second edition of the New One book, the first of its kind in Egypt, and collects success stories of opportunities in major restaurants and hotels. The events also include a set of educational videos targeting issues of violence against women presented by the artist Nihal Amber with the aim of confronting all forms of verbal or physical violence against them. It also encourages battered women to confront and not remain silent about taking their rights and raising awareness of women's issues and rights in society. And for more empowerment in various aspects of life, the initiative launched the Hands in Your Hands program, whereby a group of women will be selected for a professional handicraft workshops.
Welcome back. Now with the segment of the fashion. This is a very lovely segment. You are going to like fashion for women.